my name is Brenda. Remember I've been contacting you the last day in mail?
Yes.
I was wondering if you could answer some of my questions.
Sure, no problem.
Like, questions like, what do the different varieties of animals at the farm eat?
Okay. Well, at our barn, we have cows, which are females, and then we have goats and sheep,
Uh-huh.
and then we have, let me think. Well, this year, we just had cows, goats, and sheep.
Mm-hmm.
We have had pigs in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And in essence, all animal feed is made up of the same material, like corn, oats, barley, your grain materials. They eat hay, and there's different types of hay. Where it'll vary is the amount of things like protein that each species needs. So a cow's protein level will be quite different from a sheep or a goat's protein level. And that'll also depend on what we call their stage of development. So if I have what we call a heifer, which is normally under 2 years of age, she gets fed a higher calorie diet and a higher protein source, just because her body is growing and developing. Think of it like this, like I don't know if you have any brothers or sisters, older brothers or sisters, but
I have a little brother.
Oh, okay. Well, normally as you grow and develop, you start eating more, especially when you hit your growth stages. And so, because your body requires more energy. And so, we have to feed them more. And then we also feed our cows, which are the ones that have already had a baby, because they have to be able to produce milk for their offspring, for the calves.
That makes sense.
Does that answer it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my other question was, how do the different life cycles work?
What are you asking? Like, can you be more specific on life cycles?
Like, how do they have, like, sometimes does anything mess up their life cycle, like, for any of the animals?
Are you talking about, like, their reproductive life cycle, or
Yeah.
are you talking about their life in general?
The reproductive life cycle.
Okay. There are certain things that can disrupt their reproductive life cycles, both for the males and the females. Some of them can be environmental changes. So if they get under certain stress levels, then what's going to happen in an animal's body is it's going to start shutting down things that are not necessarily needed to live. And what I mean is, if the body's under stress and it needs to focus more on maintaining let's say the circulatory system with the heart, because the heart's got to pump to push the blood through, it's going to put more of its effort towards maintaining that circulatory system, and the reproductive cycle might either go dormant for a little bit or slow down or become irregular. So, because it's not necessarily needed at that stage to survive. Does that make sense? And so there are some environmental things that can cause animals to go through stress. Things like we had a drought a couple of years ago, and which reduced the amount of hay products, which is kind of like grass. And so the animals, and it's not as good quality because the water helps increase the quality of the hay. And so it causes the animal's body to go in stress just a little bit. Nothing that would cause it to be life-threatening, though. Other things that would affect it are how we feed them. So if I have and this goes back to stages of development, if I have a heifer, which is it's normally under 2 years of age, they have not had a baby calf yet. They get the high protein diet, which is normally about 14% protein and high calorie. Well, when she gets ready for us to breed her and become a cow, we are going to back off that protein level because too much protein can interfere with her reproductive cycle. her being able to release those eggs and for anything to happen.
How often does this happen?
The breeding?
Yeah.
It will vary according to different, like if we're taking cows, it'll vary according to different breeds.
Oh.
So like some breeds will mature faster than other breeds.
Mhm.
And environmental factors also play a part in that. So let's say Brahmins, which are the ones with the hump on their shoulders, if you've ever seen those. They tend to mature a little farther or later in life, so almost close to 3 years of age. And so most people don't like to breed before 2 years of age.
Mhm.
Once after they're 2, then they pretty much reach their maturity level.
Mhm.
But a cow will carry a calf for 9 months,
Mhm.
and so they only breed once a year, excuse me.
Oh.
And then we like for them to have single births, not twins or triplets.
Oh. Another question: do they usually bond with humans?
Yes, but not in the way that humans think. Animals, a lot of times people want to put human emotions and characteristics, think that animals portray that. Animals, and I like animals a lot. I've worked in veterinary science for almost 20 years, and I teach vet science classes. So when I say that they bond, it's not normally like, they love them or anything. They know that they trust the human because the human's taking care of them, and they know that the human is providing them with food.
Oh.
So it's not like, and a lot of times my students will ask me, if I have a baby calf, because we take the baby calves are removed from their mom when they're about 6 months of age because the mom's not producing any more milk and they're old enough to be on their own. They go, well, if you reintroduce them, will they know? Well, no, not really. So with animals, it's more of, yes, you bond with them, but more of a fact that they see you as a way of providing for them.
Oh.
And there's different types, like cows, sheep, and goats are what we call herd animals. So they stick together in a cluster with their herd, so they are more social with their own species. Horses are a little bit more intelligent, and so there's a little bit more bonding that can take place with the horse species.
Oh, I see.
And pigs are kind of like horses, and they can be pretty friendly, and people tend to like them because they become good pets and they tend to bond a little bit better. But as far as bonding, the animals see it more as you're more of a companion to them and you're providing them with something.
Oh. Another couple questions are: do they yearly or monthly get shots?
Normally with cows, it'll be, I'm trying to think of their vaccination schedule. It's normally yearly on certain vaccines. That depends on the location of where they live. So in this area, we actually only have to vaccinate them when they're about 2 to 3 months of age. And then they're good until they're around 18 months of age, and then they'll get another vaccine. Outside of that, they don't have to have any more vaccines. Now, we do make sure that we monitor them to make sure they don't have any parasites. But really, they don't have to be vaccinated every year because the vaccines that we give them have a long-lasting effect in their body. Sheep and goats are pretty much the same thing. They don't have to receive yearly vaccines. We give them vaccines when they're a couple months old, and they should be good for the rest of their life.
Another, this is one of my last questions. How do they casually behave?
How would what?
How would they casually behave at the farm?
How do cows usually behave?
No, just normally. How do they normally behave on a daily basis?
We're talking about cows?
Any animal.
Okay, and once again, that depends on the animal. Normally cows, at our barn, since it's been pretty outside, they go out in the pasture. They walk around and graze. and they will lay down. They'll just stand around and look. They do know when feeding time is. That's when they start becoming more vocal. So that's when you'll start having to move. But cows don't normally just moo at random. Normally it's either around feeding time or there's a disruption in their environment. Just say like a wildlife, like if a coyote was to come through the pasture or something. That's about it. Sheep and goats, they like to play, so we have to make sure that we have equipment for them to play around on. They like to climb up on things. So we can have tires in their pens for them to climb around on. They like to run around too. Pigs pretty much are not as active. They will occasionally walk around. When we get into the hot summer months, we need to make sure that we have dirt that's wet for them because pigs don't actually sweat. So if they overheat, they go and lay in the dirt, in the mud, and that's how they cool down.
Okay. Thanks for helping me.
No problem. If y'all have any more questions, feel free to give me a call.
Why, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
Oh, good. You got all your information?